much for that introduction. And let me start off straight away with a small story which I had heard many years back. There was this very famous millionaire in the USA. His name was Andrew Carnegie. He was very, very rich. He was just like how Mukesh Ambani is in India today, right? Hundreds of crores of rupees. Like, so he had millions of dollars, and he wanted to get his daughter married to a person who's both brave and who's rich. So he wanted a courageous person because he had lands, he had businesses, he had a steel empire. And his daughter was of eligible age, so he wanted her to get married. Now, how does he choose a groom for her? So he picked up some of the richest eligible bachelors in the US and he called them to his farmhouse in a place called Texas in USA. He called them to a farmhouse in a place called Texas in USA, and this around 30, 40 of them were called over there. And this was a huge place, it was some 20, 30 acres of farmland. There was a big swimming pool. There was two or three bungalows. So he called all of them. He made them have lunch. Then in the evening, he said, "Do you know why I have called you here?" So they said, "No, sir, we don't know why I have called you here." He said, "I have a competition for all of y'all." So they said, "Sir, what is the competition?" He showed a swimming pool. And he said, "Before telling you what is the competition, let me tell you what is the reward for the competition." So they said, "What is the reward for the competition?" They said, "Sir, the reward for the competition is that whoever can swim across that swimming pool, and that swimming pool is not an ordinary swimming pool, whoever who can swim across that swimming pool will either get $1 million, or you can choose 20 acres of my best land. $1 million means, let's say, 10 crore rupees. Or you can get 20 acres of my best land. Or third is you can choose my daughter in marriage, but you will not get the money or the land." They all said, "Yes, sir." But he said, "I didn't tell you one more thing. That swimming pool to swim across needs a lot of courage because that Olympic size swimming pool is infested with 8 crocodiles and alligators who have not been fed for 3 days. So whoever can go across the length of the swimming pool, escaping those crocodiles and alligators." And when those people looked, they saw there was 3 or 4 alligators were looking outside. Whoever can swim across that, you all know the prize. And before he could complete the statement, he heard one splash. And there was one man with both his suit, shirt, boot, everything he had jumped into, and he's swimming desperately. And he's swimming desperately. The alligators are rushing behind him. They're making their teeth, opening their mouth, and just jamming. And this fellow swimming desperately. And somehow he swam with all his difficulty and he reached the other side and he came out of the other side of the swimming pool. The alligator just shut its mouth, but he just escaped. Only his shoe got caught with the alligator's mouth and he came across. And all people ran towards him. Andrew Carnegie came and hugged him and he said, "You're the bravest man I've ever seen. You're the best. Now tell me, young man,
Yes,
what is the reward which you want?"
Sorry, Rajdeep, you went on mute. Suresh here.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so when did I go on mute? Just now, or?
Andrew Carnegie came and hugged him.
Okay. So Andrew Carnegie came and hugged him and he said, "You're the bravest man I've ever seen. Wonderful. Now, what do you want as a prize? I've never seen such a dare of action in such a fast rate. What do you want? Do you want $1 million? That man said, "No, sir, I don't want $1 million. He said, "Okay. You want 20 acres of my best land?" He said, "No, sir, I don't want 20 acres of land." Ah, I know that you're not only rich, you're very clever. You want to marry my daughter, isn't it? He said, no, sir, I don't want to marry your daughter also. And he said, then what happened? What do you want? He said, sir, I want to know the name of that idiot who pushed me into this swimming pool. So sometimes the best comes out when you are put in a difficult situations. So all of y'all might be thinking exams are like that swimming pool filled with alligators and crocodiles which you have to cross. But sometimes when you're put in a difficult situation, that's where you can do the best. If that young man wasn't put in a difficult situation, he wouldn't have swum across. And sometimes it is these difficult situations, your exams, your tests, and what you're going to face, which will bring out the best in you. It will bring out the best in you in the way in which you present your paper. It will bring out the best in way in which you actually deal with anxiety, tension. All that comes out. It tests your memory. And the problem is that because we view examinations as a difficult, very, very difficult enemy which you have to conquer, we find it very scary to deal with it. Now, for example, if I ask you to, suppose anybody of you all is playing cricket, if I ask you to play a cricket match, you will not feel scared of going out, even if your team is 10 for 3 or something like that, because you enjoy the game. If I ask you, even if there's a tough opponent, if I ask you, you enjoy playing carom board and I ask you to play, you will say, let's play, like, because it's a game. The problem is that when you think about exams itself, you have a negative mindset that this is my God, this is so difficult. I'm not going to be able to manage it. And the whole system. But if you view exam as a game, just like you're playing cricket or you're playing cards or you're playing chess, and you view it as a challenge which you have to try and overcome, you have to beat the opponents, the examiner who set your paper, the person who's actually given you the examination paper, it's a memory test which I have to conquer, then that entire mindset is not of actually crossing something difficult, but it is about dealing with a situation which is inevitable and dealing with a situation which you can enjoy. Anyway, it's there. I'm playing chess against my father who's very good in chess, but it's okay. I have to beat him. I have to try my best. It's okay. Sometimes I'll make a wrong move, sometimes he'll make a wrong move, and the whole thing is to play the game in the spirit of it. Sometimes the bowler will bowl a bouncer, but if you like playing cricket, it's okay. The bowler will bowl a bouncer sometimes he'll bowl a yorker, but you have to face it, right? Because you have to survive in the pitch and make a score, right? So that is why the first thing which I wanted to talk to you about is don't view exams as a difficult or a very, very uh, wrong thing in your life which you have to come across, or as a difficult situation which you have to come up. View it more as a sport which you have to play, which is inevitable. Sometimes you have to play the game, right? Whatever happens, right? Your teacher is there, so there is a game which you have to play and you have to overcome that and view it in that sense, and then you will be able to face exams more confidently. So just change your mindset from a difficult or a very tough mindset to a manageable mindset which you have to overcome. Now comes the second question. Which question? The question arises that why is it, sir, that I can't memorize things? When I'm studying for the exam, I study everything, sir. But when I go to the exam hall, puss, everything in my mind disappears. I'm not able to remember anything. Then the moment I come out and I go and have bath, I remember everything next day. Why is it happening, sir, that during the exam I forget it? Before the exam I remember, and after the exam I remember. Most of y'all might have faced that. How many of y'all? 5, 6 of y'all, whoever is here. Correct? So all of y'all might have faced that particular situation whereby you will find it very, very annoying to know that, I am writing the exam. During the exam, I don't remember anything. But as soon as I come out of the exam, I remember everything. So why is that particular reason? Why is it that I am not able to remember it? So there was a lot of research which went into this, and there was a very famous psychologist called Martin Querel. who try to decipher this reason. Why is it that students remember things before the exam, forget it during the exam, and then again remember it after the exam? Is there any science behind this? And there is a science behind this. And if you understand the science behind this, you will also understand, and I will give you techniques of how to conquer that particular problem which generally you face. The science is the science of memory. Now, what is the science of memory? Now, remember that memory has 3 stages. How many stages? 3 stages. What are the 3 stages of your memory? The first stage is called as your attention stage. The second stage is called your consolidation stage. And the third stage is called your recall stage. ACR. Attention, consolidation, recall. What is attention? Let's say you're reading your book for the first time. It might be a business studies, it might be a physics, chemistry. You read the book for the first time. As you read it for the first time, it gets stored in your short-term memory. Suppose you're reading a book on business studies and you're reading management, what is planning, what are the benefits of planning, what are the different types of plan. You read it, it gets stored in your short-term memory. You close it, you'll remember it for the next half an hour, 40 minutes, and then after that, push. It disappears because it's short-term. You've just read it once. The second stage of your memory is consolidation. You read it the second time, you read it the third time. You make a conscious attempt to remember it. You recall what you've written, you make down points, you read it twice, thrice, you repeat it in your mind, and it goes and sits in your long-term memory. Okay, this is the way I have to remember the points of, let's say, Henry Fayol's 14 principles of management, let's say business studies. So this is division of work, authority. You have read it so many times, you have made a note of it mentally, and you remember it, correct or not? Okay, so there it gets transferred from your short-term memory to the long-term memory, which is called consolidation. So first was attention, second was consolidation. The third stage is called as recall. What happens in recall is that when you go to the exam hall, whatever you have stored in your long-term memory, you have to write it down on the paper. That is called your recall. So you'll remember whatever you studied, whether the 14 principles of management or what are the techniques of controlling. I'm just giving you business studies as an example. You all might be from science, so you might be studying physics, you might be studying chemistry, whatever it is. It's called the recall, attention, consolidation, and recall. Now, in these 3 stages, there was a rule which was derived by Martin Querel. Martin Querel said that memory in these 3 stages will happen in that order only if there is a same emotional and physical state across the 3 stages of memory. That means if you are in the same physical state during attention and consolidation, and if you're in a different physical state during recall, you won't remember. If you are in the same emotional state during attention and consolidation, but you're in a different emotional state during your recall, it will not happen. So he said the greatest reason why we forget during examinations is because we are in one physical and emotional state during attention and consolidation, but we are in a different physical and emotional state during our recall. So let me give you an example. Let me talk about physical state. You have a habit of lying down and studying. So you lie down and you study. During attention also lying down. During recall also you're putting your book on your chest and you're sleeping off. Sometimes you're sleeping, sometimes you're remembering and recall. Now during the exam you have to sit and write. Will they give you a bed to sleep and write? So your physical state is not the same. Or some people have a habit of walking around and studying. So you'll walk. You'll go from one place to the other. You'll be walking and studying. You'll be reading a book, walking. You'll be reading a book, recalling also, walking and writing. And then in the exam hall, you'll tell the examiner, ma'am, I want to write while walking. Will they allow you? Or you have a very good habit of listening to music in the background while studying. So there is one nice music playing all the time, attention recall. Now, during the time of the exam, will you ask them to play music in the background, your favorite songs? Is it possible? It's not possible. So most students, they fail to recall because the physical state is not the same during attention and consolidation, and it's totally different during recall. This is one state, physical state. Physical state might be totally different. So the way you overcome this is by sitting quietly. Find the quietest corner in your house, have a proper table and chair, sit over there and study as if you were sitting to write an exam. Find a place, otherwise go and sit in a public library or do something. But while you're writing your exam, there will be quiet, there will be a table, there will be a chair. And if your physical state is not the same during attention and consolidation, you will find it extremely difficult to recall. If you have exceptional memory, you might remember during music time and all. Those are very rare cases. 95% of the cases which Martin Querel, in fact, in a sample of around 3,000 people, 2,876 of them could not recall when they were put in different states of attention and consolidation and when they are put in recall. And the same thing happens for emotional state. You are absolutely relaxed while you're reading your book. You're absolutely relaxed when you're actually consolidation. But during the exam, what happens? Anxiety, tension, full gabra. You'll start getting tension. Oh, what's going to happen? Where am I going to do in my life? What I'm going to do? How is the exam? The exam is going to be tough. And they starting, your heart starts palpitating, your hand starts shaking. Now you are in the exam hall in a state of total different emotional state as compared to your attention and during attention, it was calm, your emotional state. During consolidation, it was calm. Now during your recall, it is agitated. Your mind is agitated. You're getting tense. Even things which you remember, you will not remember. The next day when you go to your bath, you're calm. So that time you'll remember everything. Or when you come out of the exam hall, you'll become a little more relaxed. And as soon as you're relaxed, the recall will come through because you are in the same state of attention and consolidation as you're during recall. So please keep the same emotional state. Or one more thing is become very tense while studying also. Tension while doing attention also, tension while consolidation. Make yourself tense, poke yourself with a pin, slap yourself, but that won't happen. Correct or no? Tell your neighbor to shout at you, but that won't happen. That can't happen. So why do you want to go through that? Peacefully sit during the exam. Now, how do you maintain that same emotional state during the exam? So the entire science of studying memory is how do I have the same attention, consolidation, and recall, both physically, which I've told you, and both emotionally. Now let's go through some tips of maintaining emotional stability so that you can face your exams confidently, because that was the topic which was given you. How do you face your exams confidently? So what do I do so that I maintain a set of calm, a state of emotional stability during my exams? So the first thing which you have to remember is, it's called, in psychology, it's called the end of the world syndrome. Now, what is this end of the world syndrome? End of the world syndrome is many students approach exams as if it is the final destination in your life and as if it is a question of life and death. And if I don't do well in this exam, it's the end of the world for me. That doesn't happen in real life. Your exams are only a milestone into the destination which you want to achieve. Some of you all want to become a scientist, some of you all want to become a chartered accountant, some of you all want to become a chef. In that journey, you have to clear certain hurdles. You have to go through certain roads. So those roads, those milestones are your exams. Unless you clear those roads, if you want to become a scientist, you have to clear the road of PUC science. You have to clear the gate of BSc or MSc. You want to become a chartered accountant, you have to clear the exam of PUC. You have to clear the BCom and you have to do your Means chartered accountants you can do after your PUC also, but even then, if you want to become a teacher or a lecturer, you have to do your MCom, BCom, you have to clear. So these are just gates, just one gate will open. So exams are not the end. Exams are gateways for you to achieve a particular goal. So sometimes you might stumble in the road, you might take a wrong turn, but does it mean that you'll never reach your destination? No. So generally you get so anxious that this is the end of the world. Sir, if this doesn't happen, my life is gone. My full career is destroyed. That is all rubbish. It doesn't happen. Sometimes you might do something and you might land up doing something else. There was a very famous film producer and director called Shekhar Kapoor. He made movies like Mr. India, Bandit Queen, Mandela. He became a chartered accountant. But after chartered accountancy, he found that his gateway was in movie direction and he became a producer and director. So these are gateways. And sometimes it may be that you may not clear an exam. That's absolutely okay because you always have a second chance to do it. It's not that if you don't clear this exam, the world will collapse around you, everything will go. Amitabh Bachchan, very famous actor, said, when he had to write one of his theater exams, he was studying in school and he had taken up drama. And during the drama time, he fell sick and the role was given to somebody else. And he said, this was the end of the world for me. I thought that my only chance to become a good actor and prove myself in the school is gone. So I won't be able to make it further. And it seems his father came up to him and told him some words. He told it in Hindi. I'll tell it to you in Hindi and then I'll translate in English. He says, "Ab man ka ho to acha, jab man ka na ho to wo usse bhi acha." That means if something happens according to your wish, it is good. But if something doesn't happen according to your wish, it is even better because in that is the wish of God. And God's wish is always better than your wish. God knows more than what you know. Nature knows what, in case you don't believe in God, I'll talk to you a little later about that. But God's will is always better than your will. He didn't get that role. And subsequently, when the drama practice was going on, there was a call for an play in a different city where he was called and he was recognized and he was taken by one person called Khwaja Ahmed Abbas for his first movie, Sat Hindustani, and then his life changed. So sometimes you don't know. You might not be able to do well in one subject and you might take up another subject. So don't view your exams as, it doesn't mean you don't do well, but don't take that tension in your head that this is the end of the world. There are openings, there are places where you can go, but these exams are gateways. They are not the end of the world. And most people think it is the end of the world. And since they think it is the end of the world, you take so much tension on your head. And while going to the exam, you'll get scared, you'll get palpitation, you'll vomit. Even for me, it was that. It's not that it's abnormal. Before I used to go to the exam, I used to be so tense. Unless I vomit, I never used to go to the exam only. Oh God, I used to feel so scared if I don't do well. And sometimes nervousness is okay, but don't let that nervousness is okay because everybody gets nervous. There is a nervousness of performing well, but let that nervousness not lead to you not doing well. So the first point which you do is end of the world syndrome. Don't think it to be the end of the world. There is something better, which is a vision. The second thing which I want to talk to you is how do you study for the exam? And after you've studied for the exam, what do you do to reinforce that you're calm during the exam? There is a very famous technique of studying for your exam, which is again certified by several researchers across the globe. I can't even name them. There are some 5 or 10 books which I went through on learning, and each of them suggests variants of the same learning technique, which is called SQR cubed T technique. What is it called? SQR cubed. That means R to the power of 3 T. Now, what is this S cubed R cubed 3? S is when you're studying a chapter, survey the chapter. Survey the chapter means just look through the headings. You look through the headings. Okay, this is the heading for this chapter. Suppose I'm studying a chapter called, let's say I'm giving you management. I'm studying a chapter like finance. What is finance? Importance of finance, modes of finance, correct? Sources of finance, correct? Debentures, this thing, go survey. Second step while you're studying is questions. Question yourself why you're studying this chapter and what are the probable questions which can come from this chapter. So what do you do? To go to the back of the textbook, and if you have a good textbook, they'll mention in which year the questions have come. They'll tell you that it's come in 2015, 2017. Or if you don't have it, get a set of question papers. There are lots of chapter wise question papers available in this world, so you can get chapter wise question papers. Look through the questions and see those questions before reading. Once you've surveyed, you know the headings lightly, you know what is there in the subject, what is there, what I can go through. Just you have read through it once, right? Question, what are the probable questions which will come in the exam from this chapter? Why do you do this? You do this so that when you're studying it, you will know at the back of your mind that these are the questions which are going to appear in my exam, and you will be more careful while studying it, because otherwise you will just read through it, you don't know what's coming. The second point is question. S cube, then R cubed. What is this R cubed? Read, revise, rehearse. What is it called? Read, revise, rehearse. Read it for the first time. Read it with a lot of attention, keeping your questions in mind. Read it the second time. Revise it. Read it second time, third time, so that you read it and revise it again and again, keeping those questions in mind. Rehearse. What is this rehearse? Rehearse is the most important part of studying for your exam. Now remember, when you read and revise it, it's only getting stored in your short-term memory. Rehearse is you close your eyes and you try and remember the points which you have studied earlier. I have studied 14 principles of Henry Fayol. So what are the points? I'll close my eyes. Division of work, authority and responsibility. Third one I'm not remembering. Don't open your book immediately. Okay, fourth one is unity of command. Fifth one is unity of direction. Sixth one is stability of team. Oh, seventh one I forgot. Okay, doesn't matter. I'll remember. Rehearse it in your mind, and after you have tried to remember it at least 3-4 times, then again open your book and read the points which you have missed out. Again, close your book and again rehearse it in your mind. You know, you have pearls. Pearls are good. Pearls are reading and revising. But to make the pearls in one necklace, you need a string, and that string is rehearsing. It will never go into your short. And once you've finished one chapter, when you're going to the second chapter, again close your eyes and rehearse what you've studied in your first chapter, so that the more and more you put pressure on your brain to memorize something without seeing it. Otherwise, when you read it, it's very easy. Oh, I know this, I know this, I know this, I know this, I know this. But when you go to the exam, you'll never be able to remember, because you're not even going from the stage of attention to consolidation. What is recall? It's just staying in your short term memory. So you have to rehearse, and after rehearse, test. Especially for practical subjects, you have studied the concepts, etc. Take out a question paper and start writing. These are the mathematic problems which I'll try and solve. These are the accounting problems which I'll study. These are the physics problems. Test yourself again and again. If you follow this method, the SQR cubed T method, this is a comprehensive way of studying for your exams. And remember, the key word is remembering, rehearsing. Read, revise, remember, or rehearse. You remember it again and again, and test yourself again and again. Now, after you have done all that, the question arises, sir, still I'm tense. But now at least you have it in your consolidation. At least you have moved from attention to consolidation. So you practice a technique called positive mental rehearsal. It's called PMR. What it is called? PMR, or positive mental rehearsal. What is this positive mental rehearsal? Positive mental rehearsal is after you have remembered, you've finished the studying for your exams, close your books, and you can start it now. You have around 1 month for your exam. Every time, just before sleeping, do this. It's a magical technique. Either you do it early in the morning before you start the day, you do it both the times, it's better. Close your eyes and imagine you're going towards your exam hall. Imagine you are very confident of what you have studied. Imagine going to the exam hall and the question paper is given to you, and all the questions which you wanted have come, and you are writing it with lots of confidence. And when you're coming out of the exam, you're telling, fantastic, I've done the paper well. So whether it's accountancy, whether it's physics, whether it's chemistry, whether it's business studies, make a positive mental rehearsal. You'll have 6 subjects, do it from Monday to Saturday for each subject. Sunday, spend a little more time and do it for all 6 subjects. Before sleeping, spend 5 minutes of your time doing the PMR technique. Imagine going, imagine writing, imagine getting all the questions that you wanted, and do that in the morning also. Imagine, and imagination does not mean only visual, because some people are not visual. So imagine, feel it. Might be you can hear it. Oh, fantastic. I've done very well, man, in this exam. So some visualization is, some people are only see things, some people listen, some people feel it. Feel it. Now, why am I telling you to do this technique is, again, there is a scientific method. If you do this technique again in exam, the grooves in your brain are trained not to get nervous during the exam, because you've practiced so much that you're going to be so good during the exam. So when you go to the exam, the chances of you getting tense, the chances of you getting nervous reduce by nearly 50 to 60%. Students who have practiced PMR are 70 to 80% less prone to panic attacks and anxiety attacks as compared to students who have not done the PMR. So do the positive mental rehearsal again and again for at least 15-20 days. So I'm just recapping what I've told you. First I told you, view exams as a game. Don't view exams as a difficult situation which you have to tell, like a war. It's not a battlefield, it's a sport. Second, I talked to you about the 3 stages in memory. What are they? Attention, consolidation, and recall. And unless you're in the same physical state or an emotional state in all the 3 stages of attention, consolidation, and recall, you will not remember it. So you have to have a technique where you're either in the same physical, both in the same physical and emotional state during attention, concentration, recall. Third, I told you is, don't view an exam as the end of the world syndrome. View it only as a gateway or a pathway to reach your destination. Because sometimes it may not go according to you. There are so many external factors, but that doesn't mean the world has come to an end. The fourth thing which I told you is, there is a technique of studying which is called the SQR cubed T method. Survey, question, read, revise, rehearse, and test yourself. It's a proven method of learning. The fifth thing which I told you is, follow the positive mental rehearsal. What? Follow the positive mental rehearsal. Now let's go to the sixth point. Now, the sixth point is that in case after doing the positive mental rehearsal, after studying, still when I go to the exam, I start panicking. I see the paper and I start sweating, my hands start shaking, etc. What do I do then, sir? At that time, you have to practice a technique called anxiety grading. What it is called? Anxiety grading. Now, what is this anxiety grading? Put your pen down. Don't write. 2-3 minutes out of 3 hours if they go, it's okay. Imagine a thermometer. Grade your anxiety on a scale of 10 to 1. 10 is the highest level of anxiety. 1 is the lowest degree of, or 0 is the lowest grade of anxiety. Now you will say, sir, and ask yourself, where am I on my anxiety scale? Am I 7? Am I 8? Am I 9? Am I 6? And imagine like a thermometer comes down, no, from 8, it's coming down to 7. From 7, it's coming down to 6. From 6, it's coming down to 5. If you play this very interesting game of watching your anxiety come down, you'll see something beautiful happen. Even before you reach 4 or 3, you'll find that you're feeling much more relaxed and you're feeling much more capable of writing your paper. Why does this happen? This happens because whenever you're aware of some of your emotions disappear. The way in which you tackle emotions is by becoming aware of the emotions, right? So as soon as your awareness of the emotions come, okay, I am anxious, I'm grading, I'm labeling it, okay, I am at 7.6. Suddenly your emotions vanish. When you acknowledge to yourself, I am getting angry, you'll see slowly your anger starts coming down. So just remember this: anything life positive grows in awareness. So when you start becoming aware of your anxiety, it starts coming down. So start grading your anxiety, and you will find that slowly and steadily, your anxiety is coming down, 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 and you can then start writing the exam. There is nobody is going to trouble you at that particular point of time, and then pick up your pen and start writing. 2-3 minutes is okay, but grade your anxiety. And always, another way of coming out of anxiety is take a deep breath. Air is a natural stress reliever. So haven't you taken your paper? Because we forget to breathe when we are anxious. We get so panicky that we don't breathe at all during our. So take a deep breath and let out your deep breath. What will happen is you'll find that the oxygen actually calms your nerves. Take a deep breath. Haven't you heard your parents and other people telling you to take a deep breath? Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. And as you take a deep breath, you will find that your anxiety starts reducing. Also, if possible, I don't know if it will happen during the exam time, it's a little difficult, but at least when you're studying and you're getting a little nervous, keep a bottle of water next to you and keep sipping one sip of in water is a natural stress reliever. And they give water during exams. If you're finding it really difficult, until don't drink too much, then you'll have to go to toilet and all. Okay. But drink little water so that the anxiety. Water and air are natural stress relievers. They are nature's easiest way to release stress. So keep deep breaths, keep that, and you'll find that your confidence level increases. That is very good. Now the question comes, which is very interesting. Before the exam and after the exam, this is point number 7. Before the exam and after the exam, there is generally a very, very strange situation which arises where everybody is trying to tell you what to study. Your friend will come and tell you, hey, you studied this, this is coming pakka for the exam, as if his grandfather has set the paper. Or some fellow will tell you, this is very important. Or some other idiot will tell you, this year paper is going to be tough, man, because after 2 years they're setting paper. No. Why his uncle is the examiner in chief or something? Please don't listen to anybody at least half an hour, 40 minutes before your exam. Either you are revising what you have studied or you're taking a break and rehearsing it in your mind. Drown out all other people, because every person who talks to you before the exam will add to your tension, will add to your anxiety. Somebody tell it stuff, somebody tell you to study that, somebody tell you to read this point, and that can prove a lot of distraction during your exam. So make it a point, either go just 5-10 minutes before your exam, or even if you're going, go half an hour early to the exam hall and sit somewhere in one corner so that nobody sees you. Or at least don't talk to anybody, just ignore them and sit, because this is the greatest mass anxiety. It is called mass panic. Before the exam, everybody is panicking, as if no, that is as if the war, no, the bomb is going to drop. You are in the middle of the city and the bomb is going to be dropped on you anytime. You're going to die. You're not in Ukraine. You are in India. So just forget about it. Understand? Relax. Don't worry at all. Just study what you have studied. Whatever has to happen will happen. And then after exam, there is another tamasha which happens. What is the tamasha which happens? Everybody will compare the answers with everybody else. Say, my balance sheet total is 5,000. That will say, hey, my balance sheet total is 5,420. He's won 420. Now you are getting tense. My God, my balance sheet wrong is wrong. My answer is this. That answer is that. Now don't be stupid to compare your answers after the exam, either with your fellow friends or with your teachers or with your tuition teachers. Don't even go there. The reason is that there is no university or board in the world who will allow you to correct the paper after you have written the exam. Now, let's say your balance sheet is 5,000, his is 5,420. Will they tell you to go back and change the answer? What is it going to do? It's going to dent your confidence for the next exam. Your confidence for the next exam will become lesser. Oh, I've done badly in accounts, so I'll do badly in maths. I'll do badly in business studies. I'm not going to do well. That one thing will stay in your mind for the remaining 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and it will cause a lot of headache and pain to you. So, two things. Either you tear that paper and throw it off, or take that paper and keep it in one place and don't even look at it. If you want to compare answers, do it after all your exams are over. That time you won't, because that time you'll enjoy. So reduce this habit of creating mass panic before the exams and creating a mass panic of comparing your exam answers after the exam, because there is nothing which you can do. There's absolutely nothing you can do to correct anything which has been done earlier. What is over is over. The only thing which you're going to do is you're going to mess up your future because of what has happened in the past. So just avoid the temptation of comparing papers before and after the exam. That is absolutely no. So that is point number 7. Don't indulge in comparing answers after the exam. Don't indulge in discussing unnecessary speculative questions which will come before the exam. Point number 8. Point number 8 is, remember that you have to go through a diet. What is this diet, sir? I'm not asking you to go through a food diet. I'm asking you to go through a mental diet. And this mental diet is media. What is this media diet, sir? Media diet is at least 1 month before your exams, which is now. Reduce your screen time. Reduce your time on seeing mobile, television, laptop to a maximum of 45 minutes to 1 hour every day. And especially don't do it in the morning and before sleeping, because what you do before you sleep stays in your subconscious mind for your full night. What you do early in the morning reflects in your studies the whole day morning. So in the first day in the morning, you'll see WhatsApp messages for first 15 minutes. Your brain has a capacity of trillions of cells, but if your current attention span, it can store up to around 2.4 MB. That's all. And if that 2.4 MB gets exhausted in the morning itself, then whatever you study after that, till 10 o'clock, I was seeing mobile, I was seeing YouTube, I was going through all these movies, OTT. After that, whatever, suppose you have filled a glass. After that, how much ever water I'll do, will it store in the glass or it will get overflowed? So in the morning, at least 3-4 hours study. In the afternoon, if you want, you can see something here and there, but not more than 1 hour of media. Go through a media diet, because it's a waste of time. You will be seeing in Facebook or Instagram, somebody is eating ice cream. You will put one comment, yummy, as if you tasted that ice cream. You are an idiot. You will be worrying about what Virat Kohli is doing with Anushka Sharma, why Russia, and that is not your problem. That is their problem. You'll be wondering which movie released. They are getting 5 crores, 10 crores for a movie. What are you getting? You are getting only removing that 5 crores, all the zeros you're getting in the exam. Understand? So forget about all that, because everybody's success is their success and your success is your success. Remember that in your life. Everybody's success is their success, and Dhoni gets paid 5 crores, 6 crores for one match. Will he give you 1 paisa? Prabhas will get paid 3 crores, or that whoever that NT Ramarao will be paid, Junior NTR will be paid 3 crores, 4 crores. They'll give you 1 paisa. Their success is their success. You are seeing their success and getting happy. What about you? You will get success only if you do well in your exams. And you will get success in exams if you go through a media diet. Make yourself, reduce it from now. If you're doing 2 hours a day, make it 1.5 hours, make it 1 hour. Because I'm telling you, at the end of the day, the greatest attention grabber, the greatest distractor is that small device in your hand, which is called mobile, and you will not go anywhere with that. Your friends might do well, your Instagram people will do well, but at the end of the day, where is your life? You have to ask yourself that very, very important question. So go through a media diet, make it a point, like just like you go through, no sir, that is interesting, food, this studies is not interesting only, sir, that is so boring. Looking at Allu Arjun dance is so interesting, sir. If everything is dependent on your interest, then you should be eating only pizza, burger, you should be only smoking, drinking. Then what will happen to you? After 5 years you will die. Liver cancer, obesity. You have to eat ragi mudde, no, even though it's not tasty. You have to eat idli, no, even though it's not tasty, because it builds up your health, right? And the question is, once you start studying, it's not that attention follows interest, it is interest which follows attention. Remember this. Because you will study for 5 days, 10 days continuous, suddenly you will start finding it interesting. Just because you watched Allu Arjun for 10, 15 days, you found him very interesting. In the same way, if you develop that small taste for studies, right? Just like when when you start drinking tea. Now, suppose your mother gives you tea without sugar. You won't like it first day, second day. But after 15 days, you won't like tea with sugar, because now your attention has, your taste buds have changed. Your mind has changed to taste tea without sugar. So remember that, go on a media diet. And that brings me to your food also. When you're going for the exam, don't go on an empty stomach. You go on an empty stomach, you'll fail. Eat something light in the morning, eat some cashew nuts, idli, because see what happens is, if you go on an empty stomach, what happens is all the attention is towards your stomach is making noises, you're not able to concentrate, and your mind doesn't work. You need, just like you need oil, no, to lubricate a machinery. If the machine is not oiled properly, what will happen? It won't work. In the same way, if your body doesn't get enough proteins in the form of nuts, in the form of some, eat some 2 idlis or 3 idlis or a bread and butter, if it doesn't get enough nourishment, your brain will not work during the exam time, and you will find it very, very difficult. Because I've seen some students get so panicky in the exam time, they don't touch their food also, and they go there, and then the exam they won't do well, because they've not, your brain has not got the necessary nourishment. Your machine has not been oiled. So point number 8, go on a media diet. For God's sake, leave that mobile for some part of the day, because your career, the pathway is going through this particular point. Let's come to the last point, which is called preparation. There is a beautiful sentence, point number 9. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. What is it called? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. It's not too late. 1 month is there for your exam. It's now also, if you spend time. Because see, if you haven't lifted 10 kgs in your life, suppose suddenly you go to the gym and lift 10 kgs, what will happen? You'll be in the hospital for the next 1 week, because your arms would have broken, your muscles would have torn. You have not walked even 10 kilometers. If you'll try and run a marathon, what will happen? Your knees will get a fracture. So the easiest way to avoid tension at the end during your exam is Continuously prepare. Once you prepare again and again, there was this very famous book called The Power of Full Engagement. This was written by two American authors, Tony Schwartz and John Lower. Now, why I'm talking about this book is this book did a survey on chess masters and grandmasters. You'll have heard of chess, right? Now, what is this chess master? Chess master is a person who can defeat 10 people simultaneously who are playing professional chess. So there'll be 10 people sitting on one side. This fellow will go from one table, he'll play one move, he'll go to the second table, play one move, and he can defeat 10 of them simultaneously. That person is given the title of a master. That means you can see how much brains he has. Who's a chess grandmaster? A chess grandmaster is a person who can beat 10 chess masters simultaneously. So there'll be 10 chess masters sitting on different tables. This grandmaster will go from one table, second table, third table, and he'll beat 10 of them simultaneously. So these two Americans wanted to find out what is the IQ level of chess masters and chess grandmasters. Chess master IQ level, they measured. IQ is intelligence quotient. What is your intelligence level? They have certain tests to find out. And they found out that a normal IQ of a human being is 90 to 110. Okay. So they found out that the chess master has an IQ of approximately 121, 122. It ranges between 119 to 124, which is very high. So if a chess master has an IQ of 119 to 124, what will be the IQ level of a chess grandmaster? Definitely it'll be 130, 135. But when they did the survey on these chess grandmasters, they found that the IQ level was only the same as that of a chess master. 120, 121, 119 to 124 range was the same. And they said, what is this? This fellow can beat 10 chess masters simultaneously. Still his IQ, his intelligence quotient is the same as that of a chess master. How? Then they said, we'll do something different. We'll study the daily habits of chess masters and chess grandmasters. When they studied the daily routine of chess masters and chess grandmasters, they found the difference. They found that while a chess master practices from approximately 2 to 3 hours every day, a chess grandmaster practices from 6 to 7 hours every day. The more you practice, the more you become better. There is a slogan in the Indian Army. You know what is the slogan? The more you sweat during peacetime, the less you bleed during wartime. The more you sweat before your exams, the less you will bleed during your exams. So make it a point to study. So I'll repeat all these 9 points again. First, remember, exams is not a battle. It is a sport which you have to play. Enjoy the game. Don't make it a war. And when you start enjoying that it has a game which we have to play, you'll find that your mindset changes. Second, understand the 3 stages of memory: attention, consolidation, and recall. Correct? And only if the physical and emotional state is the same in all the 3 stages, that is in attention, consolidation, and recall, you should have the same physical state. You can't lie down during studying and write during the exam. And same emotional state. You can't be panicky during the exam and very calm during the, unless there is the same physical and emotional state, it will not work. That was point number 3. Fourth point, which I told you, end of the world syndrome. Exams are gateways. They are not the final destination. You may not do well, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. There are so many other things ahead of you in life. The fourth thing which I told you is, don't compare your exams, or don't actually create tension before the exam and after the exam. Don't create mass hysteria that somebody is going to keep yourself in a quiet place half an hour before the exam or 40 minutes after the exam. Don't compare your answers with anybody else after the exam. Fifth point, which I told you, positive mental rehearsal. Rehearse 5 minutes before sleeping, rehearse 5 minutes after that. You are going to the exam, writing it calmly, and the grooves will develop in your brain, which will help you to tackle your nervousness much better. Sixth point, grade your anxiety. Even after this, if you're finding that you're finding it very, very difficult to cope with your exams, as you enter the exam hall and you're feeling, keep your pen down and grade it on a grade from 1 to 10. Because when you're aware of something, what will happen? Your awareness will reduce your emotional drain. It will make you become much, much better. Seventh point, which I told you, was there is a technique of studying. It's called SQR3T. Survey, question, read, revise, rehearse, and test. And unless you repeat yourself again and again, unless you rehearse again and again, it doesn't stay in your mind. The eighth point, which I stressed with you, was that whenever you are going for your exam, go for a mental diet. What is this mental diet? This mental diet is stay away from Facebook, stay away from all your other distractions, because the more you stay away from these distractions, the better you will become in your examination. The ninth point, which I told you, is also have a food diet. Your machines need to be oiled before your exams. So eat a light breakfast. Don't go to your exams just like that. Keep these all points in mind and you will see that you will do extremely well in your examinations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Suresh Raju, sir.
Yeah. I think a wonderful session, Dr. Rajdeep. I think this, students, the participants have got, the idea on how to recall, how to keep your attention span, how to consolidate, and finally how to recall. I think the ARC concept. It was a wonderful session. Thank you so much, Dr. Rajdeep.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure we will go back much more confidently, and we'll be able to face the exam now much more confidently and also happily. I think facing exams should be more happier than the anxiety that we have. Thank you so much on behalf of Chanakya University.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. I'll exit the meeting. Thank you, Narendra sir. Thank you,
Thank
Suresh.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.